Alright, Neo. Time to fly. Take the blue pill. Stay in this boring, do nothing, go nowhere existence. Take the red pill. See how far the rabbit hole really goes. The choice is yours. Matt the Mad here. No, normally I don't go into movie trailers, but this is a movie that I had to go in, do something different. As you see by the look, trying to thwart the Morpheus sitting in a chair, talking to Neo, trying to get him into the Matrix. You know, we got the pills. And this week, this Thursday, we finally got the trailer for the new Matrix movie. For the longest time, it was called The Matrix 4. But now we got an official title, The Matrix Resurrections, along with the first trailer. Finally, like I said, this movie comes out in December. So we're really only about 3 months away. And even though I'm not going to go... I'm not doing a trailer reaction here. I'm going over things that I saw in the trailer that made things question things, theorize, and overall just tell you how great of a trailer this trailer is. This is probably one of the best trailers of the year, hands down. And let's first go into the song choice for the trailer. Now, Jefferson Airplane, and that's the name of the band. The song is called White Rabbit. And I have to tell you, 2 weeks ago, when I heard this trailer playing during CinemaCon, the same week we got the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Now, why they released the Spider-Man trailer that night, but not the Matrix trailer, I don't know. But this is the trailer that they showed at CinemaCon. And I heard people that were there, that I listened to on one of the podcasts I listened to, were like, yeah, they had this great song that was like the most perfect song they've ever heard in a trailer. Maybe a little spot on, or on the nose, but Jefferson Airplane song title White Rabbit is the perfect song for not only this trailer, but if you know anything about the Matrix in general. I mean, we start with Neo, you know, his friends slash other people that, you know, knew right code and, you know, knew all that. You know, they come to his apartment, and one of the girls has a white rabbit tattoo on the back of her shoulder blade, and obviously he finds out that Morpheus contacted him earlier and then followed the white rabbit. So then in this trailer we see Jessica Henwick, one of the new characters, the one with the red mohawk, or not red, blue mohawk. I'm going to get into her in a little bit. And she has a white rabbit tattoo once again, and Neo has to follow her probably back into the Matrix. And I thought that would be a perfect song. Now we're just talking about White Rabbit, you know, follow the White Rabbit. One pill makes you larger, while one pill makes you small. I mean, you can look at that as the blue pill, the red pill. Once again, another perfect song choice and lyrics to go along with the Matrix. I mean, once again, Alice in Wonderland is something that that has been part of the Matrix since the beginning. You know, Morpheus, you know, said it a million times in the first movie. You know, take the red pill, you know, and see how far the rabbit hole really goes. You know, or stay in Wonderland, you know. And I think, number one, that's the perfect song. I'm at the point of this trailer that if we don't get another trailer till this movie comes out in December, which I think is basically about 3 months away, I would be okay with it, because this trailer had everything I need to get me, to want to get me plugged back into the Matrix. So that's first. Second, let's see, Morpheus. So, when it was announced that Yahya Abdul-Mateen was coming in and going to be part of this new Matrix, I don't know, maybe it's a white thing, probably a white thing, we can call it out now, it's a white thing, but a black guy being cast in the movie, the first thing every white guy said, I bet he's Morpheus. Why? Because he's black? Yeah, and he's bald-headed, and he looks like a young Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, and now in the trailer we have that scene, as you can see right here, he has the red pill and the blue pill, and he has the great line in the trailer, time to fly. And that was like, yes! And I think the funny part is Abdul-Mateen came out the next day and said, yeah, I'm playing Morpheus. Now let's think about that for a second. Why not bring back Lawrence Fishburne to play Morpheus? Some say in this Matrix online game, he died in there, and in that video game is canon, and that would be a reason why to bring in a younger Morpheus. But once again, if he died, why are you bringing back a younger Morpheus? Well, I think there are certain things that are happening in the trailer. Like that we see him, yes, in the iconic outfit with the red and the leather jacket and the glasses on. And he definitely is Morpheus. But this could be part of the machines or the agents trying to manipulate Neo for some reason. We don't know quite yet, but like I say, why? And I know that Jada Pinkett Smith, I said this before when I talked about Christina Ricci, that, you know, she might be the new Trinity, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I said, but Jada Pinkett Smith, Naomi, from the second and third Matrix, Reloaded and Revolutions, is going to be in this movie. So why wouldn't they have Jada Pinkett Smith back, but not Lawrence Fishburne, if Jada Pinkett Smith is not going to be de-aged? She's going to be her normal self. So I think there's something to do with the machines manipulating a Morpheus to lure Neo back into the Matrix. That's my guess. I'm not 100% sure on that. But like, as soon as he was cast, I was like, I bet he's Morpheus. But why is he playing a younger Morpheus? And I first thought maybe this movie was going to be a prequel. But well, we did hear in the Reloading movie, the Architect, as seen right here, you know, when we had that long, giant dialogue sequence in the third act of The Matrix Reloaded about, you know, there's been 6 versions of The Matrix. Meaning there's been 6 different Neos, the one, that have all failed or didn't fail. Or 5 previous. At the time of the movie, The Matrix Reloaded, the Neo that we see in that movie is the 6th version. That means this new Matrix Resurrections, we're going to be seeing the 7th version of the one, Thomas Neo. So I thought, well, and until we see more of that in the trailer, when they cast this young actor to play Morpheus, I actually thought maybe this was going to be a prequel. I thought they were going to like go back and show some of the other Neos from previous versions, which I think they could still do. That would be actually in this movie. Because people don't realize this. I'm going to say this out loud. When the Wachowski siblings originally wanted to do a trilogy of The Matrix, their plan was to do the one movie that we got in 1999, the original. Then they wanted to do a prequel movie. Then a sequel to the original Matrix, which would have combined Reloaded and Revolutions into one movie. So instead of having like a 4-hour movie of 2 and 3, we would have got maybe like a 3-hour movie. And I'm sure there's about a half hour to 45 minutes between the second and third one where you could have cut out about that amount of time to make it one movie. So that was the original plan of the Wachowskis, the people that created this world, and it's an original IP. But the studio, they know with the success of the first one, we want 2 sequels. So, there's no time to make a prequel if this movie does well. Now let's move on. Priyanka Chopra Jonas. You might know this actor. She's been in that show Quantico on ABC or NBC. She's married to one of the Jonas brothers. Don't know which one. Don't really follow it. Sorry. She was in the Baywatch movie with The Rock and Zac Efron. So she was cast, and once again, I said when she was cast, I bet you, I'm still not 100% on this. I bet you she's playing the young girl, now all grown up, from the Matrix Revolutions. Sachi, here's a picture of her from the Matrix Revolutions. I bet Priyanka Chopra is playing the adult version of her. And the reason why I think that, and I also think she's playing the Oracle. And she can be both characters. Here's why. If you watch the Matrix Revolutions, most of the movie, this little girl is with the Oracle. The whole movie. And even at the very final scene in the movie, we see her out in that beautiful park with the Oracle. The architect comes up and, they do their little dialogue, talkie. How long do you think this peace treaty is going to last? I don't think it's going to last that long. Obviously, we're seeing the Matrix Resurrections. It isn't going to last that long. And then when the architect walked away, or as I like to call him, Colonel Sanders, representing KFC, the little girl Sachi looks at the Oracle and she says, "Will we ever see Neo again?" And the Oracle says, "Yes, I think we will." And then we see the sunset, or the sun rising, a dawn of a new era, the resurrection, and so I think the little girl is all grown up in this movie, and Priyanka Chopra is playing her. And they also, and she can be in the new Oracle, because if she learned everything from the Oracle, the original Oracle, and she died, then that would make sense for this girl to become the new Oracle. And if you watch the trailer really closely, she's only in the scene for like 3 seconds. But as soon as Neo walks in, she knows him right away. You can just tell on the look on her face. And, here's another idea. If you look at her glasses, around the rims, they're red, meaning the red pill, trying to get Neo back into the Matrix. So just a little hints of detail in there, which is interesting. So I do think, now like I said, we'll find out in the movie, I think she's playing the little girl all grown up, and going to be the new Oracle. And once again, in that scene in the trailer, she's reading the Alice in Wonderland book, and the sequel to the Alice in Wonderland. So, Through the Looking Glass, sorry. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, how that comes into this movie. Alright, my next topic is Neo. So, I am one of those people, like you probably, who, when the first sex photos, before the pandemic, when they were already shooting this Matrix movie, and then they had to shut it down for a little bit because of the pandemic, and then the movie was bumped from May 2021, where we were going to get John Wick Chapter 4 and The Matrix 4 in the same weekend, talking about a double dose of Keanu. They then bumped it. Then when they shut down production because of pandemic reasons, they moved it to 2022. Well, for some reason they got done shooting in enough time. It didn't take as long as they thought. Because they already had like half the movie done already. So they bumped it back up to December 2022. Or 2021, sorry. It is coming out in 3 months. Give me a second. So when the first photo came out, it was Keanu Reeves on a motorcycle with Carrie-Anne Moss behind him, on the back of the motorcycle. And I looked at the photo, and I swear to you, if I did not see Carrie-Anne Moss on the back of that motorcycle, I would have said, oh, they're shooting John Wick Chapter 4. Of course. But then when I saw Trinity on the back of the motorcycle, I'm like, why does Keanu have long hair and a beard? He looks like John Wick. And now that worried me. I'm not going to lie. That worried me. I'm like, no, I'm going to be thinking of John Wick. I'm not going to be thinking of Neo. What is up with this picture? But then I watched the trailer. And I will say to you, after not even a minute into the trailer, I did not think of John Wick. I just saw Neo, Thomas Anderson. And yes, that he has long hair and the beard, but if you look at his look in the Matrix trailer, and look at John Wick, the hair in the Matrix is longer, the beard is more full, and then the light bulb went off halfway through the trailer. Now, as we know with the Matrix, if you've seen any of the Matrix movies, 1, 2, or 3, doesn't matter. You know the Wachowski siblings have always channeled, they've had themes, imagery, names that have to do with names or anything religious from the Bible. From the name of the ship, the Nebuchadnezzar, is a religious name, term. Trinity is in the Bible. You go back and look up the one, the Messiah. Some people believe, some people don't believe. He has powers that no one can comprehend. He can bring people back to life, like he did in the Matrix Reloaded with Trinity. Then at the end of the third one, he sacrifices himself. They have him sprawled out like Jesus on the cross. That orange light comes out of his chest in the shape of a cross. So even though I was one of those people that said, back in the beginning of the year, if you remember when I said my most anticipated movies of the year, I said The Matrix 4 was like my number 2 or 3. And I said I would love the title to be The Matrix Rebooted. Because like I said rebooted because this is talking about computers and programs and the resurrections. And obviously, dealing with the whole religious aspect of the Matrix, it makes sense. Why? And once again, in the Bible, if you believe in that stuff, Jesus died and then he was resurrected. He rose from the grave. And what is happening here in some ways? Neo is returning to the Matrix. We see, here's some shots. Now, these shots you don't realize are in the trailer, but they're so quick in that one moment when they flash all these different scenes Well, someone like me started analyzing those scenes, and I noticed, one, this is after the Matrix Revolutions, so we officially know that this is a sequel to the Matrix Revolution that came out 17 years ago. Because you see him in the Machine City, all laid out, and after his fight with Agent Smith, and then here's another shot of his eyes, or lack thereof, all burned out. That what happened to him in the Matrix Revolutions, where his eyes got burned out by Agent Smith. So he's dead. For all intents and purposes, Neo is dead. Done. So then how is he back? Well, resurrection and the whole religious part about that. But then I looked at Keanu Reeves' look. I said, now he respects the Wachowski siblings, even though this is only one of the Wachowskis doing this movie. I said, if the Wachowski sibling said, Keanu, you need to cut the hair and shave the beard. We want you to look like you did in the original trilogy. I'm sure Keanu would have been like, sure. Oh, okay. I'll do what you need. I mean, you're paying me money, and I'm going to act in your movie. But I don't think they wanted that, because if you look at Keanu, and now you look at this picture. Look at this picture. Look at Keanu. He looks like Jesus. A little bit of a different variation, of course. But he has the longer hair and the beard and he's the Messiah in this franchise. He's the one. I mean, and now the title is Resurrections. So, it makes sense. How about we say that? And like I said, when I watched this trailer, I didn't see John Wick. I saw Neo. Now that doesn't mean outside the machine world, or outside the Matrix, he doesn't have a different look like we see in the movies. When his hair is half shaved, or buzzed in the first movie, but in the Matrix, he looks like his normal self before this whole thing started. So we'll see. Okay. Yes. When we start the trailer, there's this beautiful landscape shot, or city landscape. And it looks computerized, so you know they're in the Matrix. Everything, the effects weren't there to look that cheap. It's for a reason. Obviously, part of the story. And it's all bright, and then we see a shot of Keanu outside, looking at the sun. And who created the sun? The little girl from the third movie, Sachi. We see birds flying. It doesn't look like the green, grimy look of the original 3 movies when you're in the Matrix. This is a clean, bright, colorful world. And I've seen a lot of people on the internet go, well, this doesn't look like the other movies. This is like a Netflix version. Quality movie. And I say, wrongo. Go back and look at the last scene of the Matrix Revolutions. Look at that bright, sunny, colorful world that's in the Matrix. Now look at the bright, colorful look of what we see in the trailer. They look the same. Yeah. Once again, we're in peacetime. Peace. From the Matrix Revolutions to the Matrix Resurrections. Peacetime. So it's bright, it's cheery, colorful. Which means I'm sure, hopefully throughout the movie though, when Neo starts unraveling everything, and maybe by the third act of the movie, we go back to that greenish, grimy, dirty look that we know of the Matrix. But I like how it's, like someone pointed out, when you first get a new program or a new software or a new whatever, a new machine, a refrigerator, a TV, an Xbox, a dishwasher, whatever machine you use, computer, it's new, it's shiny, it's clean, it's perfect, there's no dust on it, there's no fingerprints yet on it, it's, it's shiny, it's, clean. That's what this Matrix is right now. They're in peacetime. It's clean. It looks perfect, colorful, peaceful. So, just wanted to bring that up. People who haven't watched The Matrix Revolution since 17 years ago and forgotten the last scene of the movie, well, there you go. The White Rabbit, I mentioned this. Jessica Henwick is one of the new characters. She's one with the blue hair and the mohawk. Now, I don't know if she's a good guy or a bad guy in this movie. And her having the color blue is normally bad, That's why when we see Neil Patrick Harris as the therapist, some people are thinking he's the architect. Because he's also wearing glasses that have the blue rim around them. And his background has a blue butterfly. I don't know if that has to refer to the butterfly effect. Maybe. Look into that. But yeah, she has a tattoo of a white rabbit. Same thing as in the original, where Neo followed the girl with the white rabbit tattoo. It led him to Trinity, and that's where we go from there. Now we see Neo following this girl, but we don't know who this girl is. Is she good? Is she bad? When Neo follows the white rabbit this time, where is it going to lead? Because some people have said, well, Jessica Henwick seems more like the Trinity character. Because he's following her, she's bringing him into the Matrix, kind of like Trinity did. Probably to go see Morpheus. But she has the blue hair. So is she on the good side or the bad side? Also, you see her in that one scene on the roof, she's opening up the door, and it's a bright light coming out from it. The only other time we've seen that was in The Matrix Reloaded, when Neo and the Keymaker, the little Asian dude, he's the Keymaker. He opens up the door, he has the keys, he opens the door up, and there's a bright light coming through, and that's when Neo went in to see the architect. So, is this girl the new Trinity? Is she working with the people on the blue pill side? Is she working with Morpheus? Is she related to the Keymaker? Now, I don't like to have, so-and-so is related to so-and-so and so-and-so. Then it becomes small like we saw in The Force Awakens. But for this, it could work. Maybe her grandfather was the Keymaker. And now she's opening up doors and going into, other rooms. Possibility. Some people say maybe she's the new Trinity. That's going to go on to maybe future movies. I know that Jessica Henwick, when she was cast, they said she is not only a new character, but she's one of the main new characters in this movie. So, it'll be interesting. So I'll see the White Rabbit. And then we get into Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, I never read the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. But, the title, though, through the looking glass. Now, as we know in the Matrix, they deal with mirrors a lot. Going back to the first movie, Neo, he puts his finger through the mirror and that liquid comes up, down his body, into his mouth, and then it goes on from there. Then we go into the machine world, where he's birthed in the machine world. Anyway, then in the Matrix Reloaded, when he goes through the Merovingian, and they're fighting, it's all around mirrors. When he goes and sees the architect, it's all the TVs, with the glass of the TV reflecting his image. And if you watch this trailer, there's a lot of mirrors in this trailer. You see a mirror of Neo in the bathroom taking his pills. You see a mirror of him looking at his reflection. You see an older version. Is that him? Is that a projection of something? We see a mirror of Morpheus doing what Neo did in the first movie, touching the mirror and the stuff coming out. We see Neo going through a mirror with Jessica Henwick. So the question is, with these mirrors, once again, why do we look in a mirror? To see ourselves. To see our reflection in the mirror. Some people don't like to see themselves in the mirror. Some people do. Some people look at the mirror as this, ooh, look at me, look at me. So what does that have to do with the movie? Why are so many scenes with mirrors? Is it supposed to be some sort of deception in a way? Like, what you're seeing is not actually what's going on? The mirror is deceiving in some ways. Is the mirror representing the Matrix? Or is the mirror reflecting the real world? I don't know. But I think the mirrors are very... I really wonder how the mirrors are going to play a theme in this movie. Because they show up way too many times in this trailer. Do the mirrors... I think we're going by Alice in Wonderland. Alice goes through a glass mirror to go into Wonderland. Obviously, Neo is going through we actually see Neo going through a mirror. One side goes through. And enters into this world. I don't know. Very interesting. We know the Merovingian is going to return, the Frenchman. So does he have a part in all this? Is he the one keeping Neo or Thomas Anderson out of the Matrix? Maybe. I'm very curious to see. We see one shot of his ring in the trailer. So we'll see if maybe in the second trailer they might actually show him. But I am very curious. And then we have, like I said, we don't know what Neil Patrick Harris is playing. Is he the new architect? Is he just a therapist? I don't know. We have Jonathan. I love the ending of the trailer. You have Jonathan Groff, which at least looks like another therapist. And he says, how do you feel about coming back to the Matrix? It's a little meta. Like I said, it's been 17 years, almost 18 years, since the last Matrix movie came out. So it is a little bit of a meta of, it's like telling the audience, are you ready to come back to the Matrix? Not only to Neo, but to the audience. How does it feel to come back to the Matrix?
I love it. I think the only thing that would have made that ending even sweeter
is if Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith was the one in that chair. Could you imagine? Just think for 1 second, people. Because apparently, I don't know if you knew this, they asked Hugo Weaving to return. Now, maybe he does show up in the movie, and they're just keeping that under wraps. Because maybe Lawrence Fishburne is alive, but in the real world, not in the Matrix world. We'll see. But can you imagine it? They ended that trailer with, instead of Jonathan Groff, you had Hugo Weaving just sitting in that chair, looking at Thomas Anderson, realizing that Thomas Anderson, aka Neo, doesn't know who's in the chair. We knew, the audience, and we're just here. Well, Mr. Anderson, how does it feel to return to the Matrix? And as they say in the Matrix, we finally see Hugo Weaving. And that's how they ended the trailer. That would have got people losing their mind. Well, Mr. Anderson, how does it feel to return to the Matrix? Boom. Boom. And who knows, maybe Hugo Weaving will show up. We don't know. I know one of the actors that played one of the other agents in Reloaded and Revolutions is returning. He's in the trailer. The one where the cop, does that little and turns into an agent. That agent was in the original trilogy. So, we'll see. But, anyway, I'm looking forward to this movie. Like I said, a lot of people, I've brought this up before. This franchise has a lot of connective tissue to me. My friend who passed away introduced me to this Matrix world. My other friend Reese, that was the first movie I saw with him. The Matrix Revolutions, the last movie to come out. That was the first movie I saw with him in a movie theater. And that was the first movie we ever saw in a theater together. So, really, when that ending with Jonathan Groff says, how does it feel to return to the Matrix? In my mind, I'm going, yeah, this will be the first movie since the first movie I saw with my friend Reese. The first movie I ever saw in theaters with him. And now here's a new Matrix movie. Think about all the movies that I've seen with my friend Reese. And it's like, whoa. And now we're coming back to the Matrix. And we will be seeing this in theaters. I know it's going to be on HBO Max. But I'm going to the theater and seeing this movie. Also, why do I love the Matrix? Outside of my first Spider-Man poster I ever put in my room, the Matrix poster right here was the second poster ever hung up in my room. That's why I've been up there since 2002, 2003. And then when people say, why is the Matrix so important to you? And I think the Matrix 1 is always the sci-fi classic. I do think the Matrix Reloaded is a very, very, very underrated movie. It's not up there with the first one, but to me it's not that far off. Yeah, there are a few scenes you can cut out, but overall, a very good movie. Now, the third one has its issues, but that one also has some good things in it. Anyway, like when people say, when people actually ask me, what are your top 3 favorite movies? And I would say, well, I don't have a top 3. I have 3 movies that I look at as the pillars of the 3 movies that made me want to become a filmmaker. Gladiator, The Lord of the Rings trilogy, because it is really one movie split into 3 parts, and the first Matrix. Gladiator, Lord of the Rings, The Matrix. They all came out around the same time, and that was the beginning. It's really after the Matrix Revolutions came out in 2003. 2 months later, I made my first film. So, there you go. So why is The Matrix important to me? Well, it's one of those movies that made me want to become a filmmaker. I have a lot of connections between friends of mine, and it's a great sci-fi film. So, and now we get to return to The Matrix. Can't wait. And let's just say, December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas, you know where I'll be, in the theater. And I hope you will too. Anyway, the mat here, this. And you know what I'm talking about right here? If you've seen the first Matrix, you know why I'm holding a battery up and sitting in this chair. Anyway, the mat here. If you haven't watched the trailer, go watch it. And I'm sure we'll be talking about more of this soon. And we'll definitely have a review when the movie comes out in December. So until then,